I had a period of time where my youngest son, he had just turned 13, and he came down with a very mysterious malady that was never successfully diagnosed. Adam would come down with this, the nutshell of this was he would experience a burning, itching sensation on his temple. And this would last about 30 seconds, and then immediately this would be followed by what he called a bad taste in his mouth, bad bananas. And then immediately, 30 seconds later, he would be hit with this explosive pain across his head that would throw him to the floor, kicking and screaming and pulling his hair and crying. And this would last for about 10 minutes. And then at the end of this episode, he would get a burning, itching sensation on the bottom of his feet, and then he would become paralyzed from the neck down for about 90 minutes. And at the peak of this, he was having 6 to 8 of these episodes a day. And they lasted for over a period of 7 years, and then disappeared almost as mysteriously as they first happened. But we were seeing specialists all over the country. I remember one time being in Chicago. Anybody here from Chicago? Yeah, I love Chicago. And he was at the Diamond Clinic, and we had neurologists lined up outside his door like kids at a candy store. Everybody wants a shot at this kid. And I don't know how many of you have been around neurologists. They're not great people persons, you know? And they're good at what they do. That's they don't all have to be people persons, and they especially weren't used to working with kids. And they all came in one after another asking hundreds of questions. And this one neurologist comes in bringing his little camera and a tripod, and he sits the camera on front of it and puts it on Adam, sits down next to my son's bed, starts asking questions, writing his answers down, never once again making eye contact with my son. And Adam gets it. He's a quick kid. And finally, the doctor asks a question that Adam had never heard before. The doctor said, "And have you ever experienced deja vu?" And without missing a beat, Adam leans toward him and says, "Didn't you just ask me that?" But it disappeared as mysteriously as it started. But Adam was my warm-up act. Because while I'm trying to help him deal with his situation, I get a phone call. My oldest son is a junior in college. And he calls and he says, "Mom, I woke up this morning with a pain in my chest, and I went to the emergency room, and they ran tests, and they did a CAT scan, and they said to call you because there's a fist-sized growth in my chest, and I don't know what to do." Turned out it was cancer. Now, as an educator, I'm going to step aside and do a little teaching here, because I thought this was interesting, at least for nurses, because it was an unusual form of testicular cancer. And men can get testicular cancer in their chest, abdomen, pelvis, or testicles, and it can be the primary. So this was very much a surprise for us, and he went through chemotherapy and surgery. And while I'm dealing with him, I get a call from my dad. And my dad says, "I need you to come over here as quick as you can. I need your help. Your mom was just diagnosed with Alzheimer's." And so I'm trying to help him, and I'm trying to help my son, and at the same time I'm going through a sad divorce. And the good news is, this is not the funny part. And eventually I moved across the country and started again with my new dreams. When things happen that I asked for, it's like, oh my gosh, thank you, thank you, thank you. But then there's times in my life and it's like, well, I didn't ask for Adam to be sick, and I didn't ask for David to get cancer, and I didn't ask for my mom to get Alzheimer's, and I didn't anticipate going through a divorce and my whole life turning upside down. I didn't ask for this. And yet, out of the deepest, darkest moments and most difficult times, with time and perspective, I step back and I think, the best things in my life have come as a birth from some of the most difficult times in my life. And if we can have that time and perspective and patience, many times we can see that and hopefully be encouraged by that. You know, years later, here I am in San Diego. Got somebody emails me wanting an idea for a speech, invites me to coffee. We end up meeting for coffee, and 12 hours later, we're still talking. 9 months later, he proposes to me at that same coffee table. And get this. He's the author of 1,001 Ways to Be Romantic, which sold 3.5 million copies.
Okay.